Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Before we get started, I'm just going to make a few announcements so I can catch up with everything. Celebration, as some of you may know, is coming to an end. So if you have thought about becoming a demonstrator, either to build a business or just to save money on all your crafty goodness, now would be the time to join, because not only do you get your $125 worth of product of your choice in your kit, you can also pick one of these 12 bundles absolutely free. And I think the highest value bundle is $60. So it's a very good incentive and a great time to join. And I'd love to have you on my team. Secondly, there is a new tutorial out from Create With Us. And what does that mean for you? Hi, Pam. How are you, honey? Any purchase you make in my online store, you will get this tutorial absolutely free. This month it's 87 pages and contains 15 different tutorials from products that are in the mini catalog. And this month there are some really pretty different types of cards. So keep that in mind. You'll get that absolutely free. I also have for October 1st a bingo scheduled. I'll be creating with beautiful moments. You'll get 3 make and takes, 5 games of bingo, and I will be giving out prizes. The stamp set is $23. So if you already have the Beautiful Moment stamp set, you can substitute up to $23. You have to RSVP by the 10th. I may extend that a little bit. And this flyer is at the top of, hey Debbie, how are you? Hey Do. At the top of the group page. Also, if you didn't know, I do have a Stamp of the Month club, and this month I'm doing the Hats Off stamp set. And if you happen to purchase it from my store during the month of September, you'll get the make and takes that are on this flyer using this code. But if you want to get a closer look at it, you can head over to my blog at galfridaystamping.net, and you can see the make and takes that you'll get for free with a PDF just for purchasing this stamp set. Also, registration is closing for my September craft box. And this month I did a recipe box. And I forgot to change the setting on my camera. So it's a cute little recipe box. And then it has some dividers that I created and decorated. And then with the Memories and More pack, there are recipe cards that are included in that pack. Plus, I'm going to include 20 or 25 4x6 index cards that you can decorate with the rest of the stickers and things from the class. And there's also going to be a card if you wanted to give this away as a gift. Included in the craft box is the Memories and More, the craft 6x6 paper, and also the Designer Series paper for all one price. Hi, Ruth. Hi, Dawn. Thank you so much. Hey, Karen. How are you, honey? And then one more thing, if you happen to share this video tonight, I'll pick a winner next week. I will be giving away the In Your Words stamp set. So just for sharing, I'll pick your name and we'll give that away next week. So tonight, we are working with the pretty pumpkins. The only pumpkin I actually did is right here on this card. You really can't see it that much. I actually depended on the vines and the little flower for tonight's card. I've never done a drapery card before, so that's why I chose this card today. And if you'll remember at the beginning of the week, I had a card similar to this one, but the front of the card was wider. You didn't see so much of the background. And then I used the little pretty pillow box die from the gingerbread and peppermint set and made a cute little purse out of the pillow box. And all I did for tonight is used a glue dot to close it. I would probably in the future put a miniature Velcro dot on that. So let's get started, and we'll start with the drapery card first. And I'm using the soft succulent, nice soft colored card. I will have a PDF in the group tomorrow. Thank you, Pam. With all the dimensions, so you don't have to worry about writing anything down. I'll have them all for you. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you, honey? So the card base is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. Then I added on, you know me and my layers, I added on a layer of basic white, and I'm not really too sure what size this is right now, 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm just going to adhere this right to the front of the card. I hope everybody's doing good. Of course, the glue is clogged. Let's try a different one. I've been trying to catch up. The holiday this week got me all confused. I guess it's not too hard sometimes. And I kept thinking after the fact that it was Sunday. Monday was Sunday, and I thought, Tuesday was Monday, and then all of us. So I thought I was running out of time, and then it dawned on me that I actually gained a day this week, which was really nice. So I don't know. It was a crazy week. Then I took another layer of soft succulent, and this is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And then the designer series paper is 3 3/4 by 5. And this is actually the free paper pack from Celebration, the Penguin Playmates, I believe it is. And I am just going to adhere this layer to the soft succulent. And then we're going to pop the whole layer up onto the front of the card. Oops. Just to give it a little bit of dimension. So let me put that down. Make sure it's on here straight. It doesn't look bad. And let's pull out some dimensionals. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. It's been a crazy, crazy couple days. Trying to catch up on all the things that I have to do. As many of you know, if you're in here all the time, I finally did. I'm going to stand up while I put this on. Get somebody to cut my grass to take one thing off my to-do list. The only problem is they cut the grass but don't weed whack. or take care of my garden. So what does that mean? That means with all the rain, everything has been so crazy outside. So I'm trying. Hello, Sharon. How are you? Yeah. The only thing is I have to get out there now and weed whack and clean up my garden in the front. And that's what I've been doing. So it's been a crazy couple days. Okay. Now for the drapery, I'm using the Harvest Meadow 12 by 12, and I decided to use the side because it's the soft succulent with the writing. Now the piece measures, let me just get this right, I think it's 3.5 by 9. That's exactly what it is. It's 3.5 by 9. Whoops. And out of that piece you can get 2 drapes out of it, because this one would be turned. Unfortunately, if you look at the script on here, you want to make sure that the writing is in the correct direction, where this one, it will not be. So for this, it's going to be a wasted, unless you wanted to put it on and do it backwards, where the drape would be lower on this side, higher on this side. So I can't use that piece for the drapery. So it's 3.5 by 9. And then what you would do is score it at 1, 1.5, 2.5, 3, 4, 4.5, 5.5, 6, 7, 7.5. And that would give you all your score lines, and you're scoring the long side, of course. And then you would pretend this is not cut yet. You would mark it a 1/2 inch down from the top right corner and a 1/2 inch up from the bottom left-hand corner. Line up the marks on your cutter and cut it in half. So then you have the 2 pieces. So I would suggest, if you wanted to make 2 cards, use paper that doesn't have a right and a wrong up and down. And then we're just going to fold on all the score lines. Now when you do fold it, this edge on the top here, you just want to make sure, and it's a little harder to see your score lines on designer series paper. You just want to make sure that line across the top is pretty straight. Let's see what the next one is. I didn't do this ahead of time. I should have. I didn't realize it would be that hard to see my score lines. I didn't want to press too hard when I was scoring. Although our paper is nice and thick, you can put your stylus through it pretty easily. Okay, right there. And then one more. So here's our drape. And that's going to go across the front of our card. On this one, I actually did glue the pleats. This one, I'm not. I'm just going to attach it across the top. But I do have to make a mark and trim the end off, because this piece measures wider. It's about 3 7/8. So it's a little wider than my DSP here. So I'm just going to pull this out, see where my marks are. and just give that a little trim. Nice and easy. Okay, so I'm just going to get it down here at my corner, make sure it's lined up. I'm going to glue it across the top. And before I do that, let me just grab some ribbon. I forgot to add my ribbon, so we're going to do it right here to this. I used the ribbon to hide the top piece of the raw paper. So I'm just going to grab some glue. I should have added this, and I didn't. Getting ahead of myself. I should have added it before I added that top layer on, but we can fix it really quick. I'm just going to add a glue dot there. And another one here at this end. Cut a piece, grab my scissors. No, I didn't even pull my scissors out. Crazy, crazy. All right, so I'm just going to hook that right there and then come down I'm going to add another glue dot to the center just to hold it down. Now, you want to, like I said, you really want to put this on before you lay the designer series paper, this popped up layer. I made a mistake. Got ahead of myself. But what else is new? Okay, quick and easy fix though. Just going to add this on, trim this off, and then there we go. I'm going to add some glue, and I'm just going to add it to the top. You could use tear and tape if you wanted. And I am going to put glue down this side. And then we're just going to take this piece, like I said, line it up along the side here. Make sure it is at the corner of your designer series paper. Am I on the camera? Yeah. And then just lay this down. I'm just going to hold this for a minute. The glue dries quickly, but you know, not as quick as we like sometimes. Hi, Anita. How are you, honey? Thank you so much. Hi, Kathy. Minnesota. How's the weather there? Has it been crazy? We had a, I'm going to now make my bow. Yeah, let's make the bow while we're yapping. When I got up this morning, we apparently had a pretty bad storm, and we were under a tornado watch, and I did not even wake up to the storm, which is crazy. I must have just fallen asleep, and I didn't hear a thing. So that's crazy. Okay, so now our bow is ready. I'm just going to put that aside. What I did was I grabbed the largest of the pumpkin vine and the soft succulent. Just going to move these things out of the way, make some room. And I am just going to stamp it in the soft succulent. And then you're going to run it through the Big Shot with the dies that go, which are called detailed pumpkin dies, and you're going to line it up. Make sure that the little vine is showing through these two little windows here. And when you cut it out, it cuts out these little swirls on the vine really nicely. So I'm just going to grab my light soft succulent and pale papaya. Now, I believe this is bumblebee and crushed curry. And I thought the bumblebee would be just a little bit too dark for the front of the card. So I decided on the pale papaya. And tonight we are just going to do a quick color, one quick layer, and we're going to let that dry for a few minutes. And we're going to go and grab our soft succulent. And if you notice, I use the nib end of our blends. And the reason I do that is because I find that the brush side, the ink flows much quicker. And it has a tendency to bleed outside the stamped lines. And I have just a little bit more control over the color with the nib end. I do use the brush end, and I usually use it to give a quick wash of color, so I can just brush it right over the image. Now that'll dry, so I'm going to go back to the pale papaya, and wherever the artist has lines, I'm just going to add another layer of color. The artist usually makes their lines, and that's where a shadow would be. I mean, it's a very subtle difference. Hi, Maggie. How are you, honey? And then I grabbed the champagne rhinestones, and I just grabbed one and put it right there in the center of that flower. Okay, so let's go back to our ribbon. Let me just grab my other scissors. I'm still waiting on my scissors. These are they're okay for cutting paper, but they're not really good for cutting ribbon. And I tried the foil trick, and it just did not sharpen. So I think I'm going to try some sandpaper. Hopefully I don't ruin my scissors. Okay, so let's grab a glue dot. And what I'm going to do is first lay down the vine. And I'm just going to add it just like that to the front of the card. And then we're going to use another glue dot, and I'm going to put it on top of the vine. Make sure I got the right side. And then add the ribbon. Quick and easy. Go back to our rhinestones, and I'm actually going to put one in the top right corner and one in the bottom right corner. And there's the front of the card. Quick and easy, right? Now for the inside, again, quick and easy inside. All I did was stamp. So thankful for you. So I have one layer of this soft succulent, 5 1/4 by 4, and then the basic white, 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Basic white is 5 1/4 by 4. And again, the PDF will be posted in the group for this card tomorrow. I ordered them a long time ago. What did I order a long time ago? Thank you for sharing, everyone. Okay. Now this is going to be a little tough because hopefully I'll get it on here straight, and it's not, it's crooked. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my block. This is the time you would need your stamparatus, but I'm going to get my block with my lines on it. Make it much simpler. Now I can see my grid. I can run it right across the bottom of the card. Hopefully that will work. Ah, much better. Perfect, right? Love the grid lines. And then we're just going to, and this is why paper has two sides. If you do make a mistake, don't throw out that cardstock. Just turn it over and do it again. Let's layer this down. And you can't even see where I made the boo-boo. So it's all good. And then we're just going to adhere this to the inside of the card. Thanks, Dawn. Hey, Pam. And then there is the drapery card. I really do like this. Actually, I like it not glued down better than, like I said, this one I put glue in between each pleat. This one is not. And I think I like it without the glue better. So there's card number 1. If you'd like these make and takes this week, all you have to do is place a $35 order with the code that's scrolling along the bottom of your screen, and I will send them to you. Okay, the next card, another quick and easy card. I started with a soft succulent, and this is actually 7 by 5.5. And I scored it from this side over 4 1/4, or you can score it at 2 3/4. That's what this little section size here is, 2 3/4. And then I have a layer of basic white following the same trend to the other card. And this is actually 2.5 by 5 1/4. And then I'm using the same soft succulent DSP, which is 2 1/4 by 5. So there's a 1/4 inch between the layers. And we're just going to adhere these with some glue. I got to watch that I don't get ahead of myself and forget to put the little latch on, or the closure. Okay, and then this side, this piece also is going to get glued. Oops. I have to be careful because I usually don't do a 1/4 inch. I usually do 1/8 inch. So that little extra 1/8 inch really gets me each and every time. Okay, so there we go. That's adhered. Then I took another piece of the soft succulent, and this is 5.5 by 1.5. And I'm going to use the longer side, so we score it at 3 1/4. Okay. And I am just going to, and I used the tag topper on this one, but you'll see that the hole is there. I wanted something a little bit more decorative. So instead of using the tag topper, I'm going to use the Elegant Tag Punch. and I'm going to use it at the rounded edge, and I'm just going to take my paper and slip it in to the punch. Make sure it's in there even, and punch it, so then we have a nice little rounded end. So this way, when this little piece gets opened, it's not just a squared end. Then I have another piece which is 2 5/8 by 1 5/8. And this I actually, again, and if I make a mistake, I'm going to have to cut a new piece. But I did the So Thankful for You again. And we're just going to stamp this right on this little piece, closer to the right-hand side, so the pumpkin will fit. And I'm going to use my lines again. Okay, very good. And we're going to take this. We don't have to worry about this being squared off because it's going to be hidden under the pumpkin. And we're just going to glue this right here, making sure it's centered. And I'm just going to turn it over. Move it up just a tad. Whoops, too much. Okay. So there's the front piece. And then we're going to grab our paper again. I guess while I have the glue out, the ink here, let's stamp our pumpkin. And I'm doing it in the soft succulent. And I'm going to actually, I didn't even cut one out tonight. So for the pumpkin, I did color it in with the light soft succulent. So this time I'm going to use the brush. Since we have such a big area to color in, it's just easier to do it with the brush. Now you don't want to scrub. You just want to get this on here because if you remember, your ink pad is water-based and your markers are alcohol-based. So if you scrub this too much, you are going to smear the ink. So you just want to get that color on there quick. And then I'm going to just take the pale papaya and I'm just going to color in the stem really quick, pulling that color from the other card. Thanks, Kathy. Hi, Marilyn. Thank you. Hello, Iowa. I knew you were doing horses, Karen. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Okay, so this card also has 2 of the vines that I've already cut out. So let's just pull these in. And it's actually 1 large vine, 1 small vine. And we might as well quick color these in before I pull in my cut and emboss machine. Once this ink is dry, you're pretty good with coloring it in. If that ink is a little wet or you scrub too hard with your blends, that's when you'll run into trouble. Okay, now this one, it has a little flower and then the large pumpkin leaf. Now, if you wanted to up these cards a little bit, you can cut out some more of the leaves and lay them down. And then we're going to do the pale papaya. Again, just trying to match the colors in our original card. Okay. So now that those are done, and we got all that done, let's pull out our little mini embosser. Like I said, I did not do this ahead of time. I could have. I should have, actually. And we're just going to line this pumpkin up. That looks pretty good. It looks like, oh no, that's the bell. And just run this through. I'm having trouble with my bigger cut and emboss machine. It's the pressure on it has disappeared. I don't know what happened. Okay, so I didn't really cut it out that perfectly, so I'm going to just trim the top here. I don't really have to worry about the bottom because it's going to be hidden by the vines. So I'm just going to trim this off a little bit. And we're going to go back to our piece. We want this to be centered on the card. So let's add some glue. And we just got to tuck it in. You want it to be even with this outside line of the card. And I'm just going to push it down so it's nice and even. And that looks like it's pretty even. Make sure that's glued really good. And I left the inside blank. Yes, I did. And while we're here, we're just going to finish up the inside. I didn't do anything to the piece originally. So we're just going to lay this in. I like to check to make sure, and it is off just a little, that the outside piece and the inside piece are even. And that looks good. Let's see if I have to trim this. Nope. This little piece, again, it's just to match it to the other card. I'm going to line this up right at the edge because this is what's going to be seen when the card is closed. Let's just see if this fits. Nope. Let me just trim this little piece here. Let's make sure how long. 5 1/4. Just a tad off. Okay, and I'm just going to run some glue, and the only reason I'm doing this is to cover up that raw edge between the designer series paper and the basic white. We can close this up. Now we're going to take our little pumpkin, and he's a little darker than the one I did originally, and we're going to pop him up. Now you want to make sure you only get your dimensionals. You don't go too far, so I'm going to actually add my dimensionals to this little piece. And then add the pumpkin, and we're going to center him on the tag. And then we're going to take the large vine that we colored, and we're going to glue it to the front. So this is the piece actually that's only going to be on the pumpkin. So we're going to glue it. We're going to make sure that we can still see our sentiment. And then we're going to grab our little vine, and this one we're actually going to pop up. So I'm going to add a dimensional there. Let's see if I have a little tiny one. I'm going to add a mini one just down a little further. Collecting all the little ends. And then we're going to add this right here, making sure you hit the pumpkin right on the bottom. And let's, oh, this one came off. Okay. Let's pull in our champagne rhinestones. And I actually added 2 to this top right corner. And these are the smaller size in the rhinestones. And then I took the largest and put it right here by the sentiment. So you just bring the eye right there to the sentiment. And then we're going to make a bow. When you get your bow going, don't make the mistake that I usually make. Make sure you cut enough. And it goes through your fingers, back through your fingers, under the ribbon, then pull the tail. And then this piece that you just looped, you're going to put this tail around that loop and pull it out to the right. And that's how you make your bow. Oops. Make sure you don't pull it too tight that you can't get it off your fingers, but you don't want to have it loose. If you have a nice tight bow knot in the center, your loops will be nice and full. So we're just going to add a glue dot to that pumpkin. Add our ribbon. Just puff that up. And then I'm just going to fix my tail. I'm going to just trim this off. And then trim this one off. And then there is card number 2. Quick and easy. And I think I don't know, the dark one is nice in that camera. Hey, Sonia, how are you, honey? Hey, Maggie, Florida. How's the weather in Florida? Okay, so now the third little one project is the pillow box. And like I said, I pulled it out so you could see it. I just closed it with a little glue dot. And I would probably in the future use a Velcro. So what I did was, and let me pull it out here. I die cut. Do I have the die out? Oh, it's right here. I die cut the pillow die, and it still has tape on it from me pulling it out. Okay? And then there is a die in the set that has a little flower. So that's where this comes from here. Okay? Then I took a piece of DSP, which is about let's see how wide it is. It's 3 7/8 by 2.5. And I ran it through the die cut again, but all I did was line it up for this top section here. Again, where there's words, you do have to be careful that the words are straight and they're not, at an angle. You want them to be lined up. And I just ran it through twice using the same size just for the top piece, okay? And then they come out crazy, crooked. They actually don't look like this. They actually, let's see if I have another piece. And I don't. They come out actually looking like this piece here. And then what I did was, and again, it's very hard to see, but if you can see these score lines here, that's where I cut it. I cut it at the score line. Then what you have to do is, there's a score line, and you can't even hardly see it. It's there. There's a score line at the top and the bottom. And this one, I already got the one on the bottom, I believe. I just have to cut it off at the top. And they're so hard to see. Whoops! That wasn't good. I took it off before I started my video, so I guess I didn't put it on good enough. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one. And again, trying to see that score line, and it's right there. But we're going to trim this off because we just want this front piece or the back piece to have the designer series paper. Let me see this one. So you just have to very carefully look for that score line. Now that my light fell down, it's even darker in here. I think that's good. Let's see. Yeah, this one needs to be done too. I thought so. All right. And how crazy is that? Oh, this one on top too. Okay. Okay, so you just want to trim that because we want to now. I'm going to look at these because this one I cut just a little bit crooked. I did it that. It's terrible when you are trying to get it straight. All right, that's better. And then we're just going to glue these down. And I'm going to do it first. And you want to get as close to the edge of your designer series paper. The best bet would probably be to use tearing tape because you can get right to the edge. But I want to glue these on, and you're going to just line it up with the one score line. And there is an opening, so we're going to cut that out. But I want to make sure that these are glued down because we may need to trim. Not sure how well I trim them. So I'm just going to put it up along. There's a score line right up across the top. And I'm just going to glue these down. and make sure that they're dry. And I'm going to give them a couple minutes. Now, I did save the little flowers when I die cut them off the top and then did an additional one. So let's just add a little bit of glue. And we're going to offset the top one so the flower looks like it has more petals. And we're going to let that dry. Let's get everything ready. We're going to tie another bow. Make sure you cut enough. And you go through, back through, and then you're going to hook that loop. Whoops. I cut it just a little too short. And then pull it. Okay, so there's our ribbon. And it should be pretty dry now. And then I also, let's color this in. I have one more vine. So we can pull, I wanted to pull everything together using the vines. So we're just gonna pale papaya and the light soft succulent. And we're just doing a quick color. It looks so dark when you first color, but it does dry and lightens up as it dries. Okay. And then let's just add our rhinestone to the center. Then we have all our pieces. Okay, so now that we have our pieces glued, what I did was I took my brad gun or whatever this is called, and I just put a mark on each side, trying to make it as even as possible. Because I didn't have the hole punch, they weren't deep enough for me to get it in here. So that's why I used the brad. And it actually does poke a hole, as you can see. I don't want to rip it. I'm just going to grab my scissors and cut that off. Okay, so now we have our two little holes. And I'm just going to grab a length of ribbon. And we're going to add our little handle. So I'm just going from the inside to the outside. And then back in. Oops. Back into the inside. And then I'm just going to grab some tearing tape. And I'm going to put it right in between these two little holes. And I'm going to take the tape off here. Make sure it's sticking. I'm only going to take off half for now. But I'm going to lay my ribbon down right on that tearing tape so it holds it in place. Now you want to come back out and you want to make sure that your ribbon is not all twisted and turned. And if it's not, pull off the rest of your paper and then lay the other half of your ribbon across the tearing tape. You may want to just trim it up if you have to. And then just pull it out. And there's your handle. And then you're just going to very carefully fold it right across that top score line. Okay. This piece here, we need to cut out. This is the DS piece sticking through. And this piece, you know, it's die cut off. I could have actually run the other piece through the, with the die cut on this side if I was thinking, but I wasn't. Okay, so let's just trim this a little better here. Can't get her in that little corner there. There we go. Hey, Linda, how are you, honey? Thank you, thank you. Okay, so now this is the front of the card, and you'll notice if you're looking closely, you'll see that I put it on upside down. Now these little pieces on the end, you very carefully have to fold them on that crazy score line. And if you can see, we do need to trim. Okay, we're going to do each and every one. Oops. There's always one that wants to give you trouble. So you're just going to gently fold it on those score lines. And now that they're folded, we can just trim this a little bit wherever it needs, because it is hanging off just a little. And once you glue it on, you actually can see where you've missed your score lines. So let's just trim this there. And where this is the front of the purse, we want to put glue on the back piece. And then fold that in. Oops. You want to, I should have folded it on that score line. Pull that in and tuck it just like that. You want to make it sure it fits. And just hold that for a second. Just like, you know, we're making the pillow, but we're just adding the ribbon so we have a little purse. Again, tuck in the back piece. Add your glue. Just going to add a little glue right here because I missed this corner. And then pull that over. Glue, glue, glue. And then hold this for a minute. And again, I'm just going, I didn't pull out any Velcro, so I'm just going to add a glue dot for now. And you're going to fold over the top. Let's trim our little tails. Make some room here. Okay. Then we're going to add the bow to the right hand side, right over here. Now this little pillow pack it's tiny. It's what? 3.5 by 2, so it's a cute little size. And then I'm just going to grab another glue dot here, close this up. Whoops. Got the glue dot on my finger. Okay. Then we're going to grab our vine, add our glue dot, add it to the front. Now we have our flower, and we already put that one together. So let's grab another gem, put that right there in the center. And we're actually going to add this to the front with a glue dot also. And then we have our little purse. So let's take a look. Here are our cards. I actually like this one better. Whoops, let's move them down a little bit. So I hope you like tonight's projects. Again, if you place an order in my online store, I will send you these make and takes for free. And you will also get the 87-page tutorial using products from the mini catalog. And there's actually 15 different tutorials. And I'll send that to you also for free. So thanks for joining. Thank you, Elizabeth. I hope everybody has a great night and a better weekend. I'll see everybody on Saturday for, I don't know, I don't think we're going to finish it, but another part to our interactive photo album. I think probably after, we have probably one more week after this. So thanks for joining, and have a great night. I'll talk to everybody soon. Bye-bye now.